Hamlet is the most discussed work of English literature. It has more written about it than any other work in this language, far and away. Something is being published about Hamlet at least every month. I can't even say I'm sorry about that because I myself am part of the problem. There's an enormous amount that's been said, argued, asked about this play. But it has also dominated, at least for the last couple hundred years, since character criticism, the kind of focus on the fictional characters as people arose. There are some great unanswered and unanswerable questions that we should give up on. You will find many, many critics arguing about two classic Hamlet questions. Why does he wait? And is he crazy or not? These questions stay in vogue because nobody ever quite manages to make the case fully one way or another. So it's great. It allows an infinite variety of different arguments for these questions that can never quite be settled. I would suggest to you these questions cannot be settled because they have been formulated badly. That if a question has been asked including by brilliant minds for, let's give it a mere 150 years, closer to 200, and no one's really sold it yet, I would suggest we give up on those questions. At the very least, 300 level undergrads who are taking a survey don't get crazy trying to solve these questions. They can't, the great minds have failed to answer them because the questions are stupid. The questions are stupid. Smart people have asked them. Brilliant people, much smarter than I am, have asked them. But the questions are stupid, and here's why. First of all, it's stupid to chase a question that just cannot be answered. Cannot be determined. That's the answer. The problem with both of these questions, why does he wait, and is he crazy, is that they treat Hamlet like an actual person, an imaginary person that the play just describes to us, like it's a piece of journalism reporting the behavior of an actual person who is somewhere out there beyond the play if we can only find out about him, and not a piece of writing itself. Here's the trick. There is no person named Hamlet. There is a play that describes him, but if it's not a word on the page, you can't say it. What was Hamlet's childhood like? Hamlet didn't have a childhood. Only things that Hamlet discusses in the play or are discussed about are real. Now, sometimes if you ask people, what's a character? They will say, a character is a person in a book. I don't think there's anybody in there. I tried. If someone's in here, he desperately needs rescue. But there doesn't seem to be any people in my book. What a character is a formal element of a literary text. It is a part of the play. It is a part of the story that functions in certain ways. It represents a person. It makes us imagine a person. But a work of art that makes us think about a person is not the same as a person. He is not a man. He is the painting of a man. If we go over to the Cleveland Museum of Art, which I highly recommend, and we look at the pictures, yeah, those are pictures of people, but they're also images made of paint. Our job is to look at the brushwork of the paint, in this case, the brushwork of Shakespeare's very cunning pen. Let me take our two impossible questions in order. First of all, why does he wait? Why does he wait? Why does he wait? Because it's not the end. He doesn't kill the king because it's not the end of the story. When it is the end of the story, then he kills the king, really right on schedule. It's a long play, but not like twice as long as other plays. He happens at the end. Why does the detective not solve the crime till right at the end of the movie? Because the detective never solves the crime till the end of the movie. This is simply a formal element. Of course, he hasn't taken his revenge yet, because when he does, the play is over. I'm sorry if that seems simple and crude. Let me say this, and I don't mean simply to take away arguments. People are excited about the whole why does he wait question. Let me try to replace it with a different question that might be more productive. If we've been asking why does he wait for 150 years and not getting anywhere, maybe we need to flip that question and turn it to something else. Why do we get impatient? Not why does he take so long? Why do we think he's taking so long? He's not really that far behind schedule. He gets him in Act 5. That's where you get him. That's where you get the bad guy. Act 5. Always. Every time. But the play convinces us that this is slow. No writer will ever be advised by an agent or a manager or a collaborator or your friend or the writer's friends in a writing workshop to convince the reader that it's going slower than it's actually going. This play does. Why do we think it's taking Hamlet so long? Because Hamlet says so. It's a trick. Hamlet's trick and Shakespeare's trick he plays on us to be like, why? Why is it taking so long? So why haven't I done this yet? Why haven't I done this yet? And this is tied to what really makes Hamlet such a successful and modern seeming piece of art, even today, that sense that trick that makes us think that Hamlet has an interior life. Hamlet doesn't have an interior life. There's no person in this book. He's just a bunch of lines that various actors over the last 400 years have taken turns saying. But we're all convinced there's something in there that he's not saying. What is he not saying? What is he not telling us? Hamlet, by professing to be mystified by what's going on with him, creates the illusion of being a person who doesn't know what's going on with him, who doesn't fully understand himself, as opposed to a unreasonably, unrealistically articulate person who knows exactly what's up with him all the time. He seems to be mystified by himself, and that makes us think there's a mystery there. There's nothing to find out. If it's not on the page, it's not there. But the beautiful trick is to make us think there's something behind. There's something he's thinking that if we could just, there's something he's thinking he's not saying. Hamlet is a character in a play. All he is what he says and does. There is nothing to the character. That is literally what he is. He's a bunch of words for the character to say and some stage directions about killing 5 people. There's nothing but what he says, but we are persuaded by this play that there's something else he's thinking and not saying that he can't put into words, and we imagine that ourselves. It's a beautiful trick. It's worked fabulously for 400 years. Signor William, my magnifique, beautiful. My compliments to the maestro. One of the ways Shakespeare works, and he certainly does this in Hamlet, he is always revising he's revising things from sources. He gets this story, like most of his stories, from somewhere else, and then he changes it, and he does things to make it more dramatically effective. One of the things he routinely does is take away clear, on-the-nose, plot-oriented motivations from his characters. In the source, there'll be a clear, straightforward, plot-oriented motivation. I'm going to lie to Othello for reason X. I'm going to say that I'm going to make my daughters do this crazy who flatters me game because I'm trying to trick daughter number 3 into promising me Y. Shakespeare will take those obvious, clear motivations away and leave us a character who does weird things without quite explaining why, which makes us feel there's something going on with them. There's something mysterious or unknown about them, and we become curious about it. It's a kind of psychological version or a higher order version of the J.J. Abrams locked box thing. Like, there's something in this box. What could it be? I don't know. I'm going to tune in next episode. Shakespeare does that with his characters' minds. He convinces us there's something lurking in there that he won't show us. So we're like, what is it? The point is that we will keep guessing what it is, that he will never show us what's in there. There's anything in there. Hamlet had a clear motive. Hey, I'm going to pretend to be crazy. The Hamlet in the sources, I'm going to pretend to be crazy to calm my uncle down, to lull him and make him not suspect me before I get the sucker. I'm going to get my revenge, but first I'm going to act crazy so he doesn't take me seriously, and then when he least expects it, boom, expect it. That's great. And that sounds like what Hamlet starts to do. Hamlet's like, I'm going to fake insanity in order to take my revenge. Two things about that. One is, it doesn't calm the king down. The king, who's suspicious is supposed to be allayed, seems to get more and more anxious the crazier Hamlet seems. It makes him surveil Hamlet extremely carefully. This place full of eavesdropping and surveillance. Let's keep hiding behind tapestries till Hamlet finally kills us. If you get away with it once, maybe quit while you're ahead, Polonius and Claudius. So the reason he should be doing it isn't working the way it's supposed to work. And secondly, Hamlet himself complains about, why am I waiting? Why am I waiting? Why am I waiting? Well, you know why you're pretending to be crazy if you're pretending to be crazy. You should know, but he's mystified. What am I doing? Well, I thought you were lulling him into suspicion. I thought this whole thing was. You were lulling him out of suspicion to make him, to get him in a posture where you can attack him. But no, you just seem to be not sure why you're doing this. That's a brilliant trick of Shakespeare's to make a mystery of the character, to make the character mystified by his own behavior, so to make us contribute by our own guesswork. It gets us engaged. That leads us to the other great unanswerable question that sends people around circles forever, which is he crazy or is he pretending to be crazy? Really mad? Pretending to be mad? This question cannot be answered because the text answers it 3 different ways. The gold standard for these texts, like things that are not on the page, don't count. If you feel this, and you feel like it reminds you of your Uncle Charlie, something happened to you, I feel that, that is not evidence you can use in a paper, in English class, or even in class discussion. Let's be real. The words on the page are the facts, are the only facts we have about this story. Hamlet tells us, I am not essentially mad, but mad in craft. He says this in Act 3, Scene 4, to his mother. Don't ravel out the secret. I'm not essentially mad, but mad in craft. I am faking. Who tells us this? Hamlet tells us this. But in Act 5, Scene 2, when he's apologizing to Laertes, he says, who did it? Not Hamlet, Hamlet's madness. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Don't blame me for killing your father. My madness did it. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. It wasn't me, it's my madness. He is telling us he was crazy. He's told us he wasn't. He's told us he is. Could this be any murkier? Yes. Because in Act 2, Scene 2, talking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, he says, helpfully, I am but mad north by northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw. I don't know what the hawk and handsaw are doing. Your footnotes may vary. I'm only mad some of the time, only north by northwest. Hamlet tells us 3 different things about his psychological state. Mad, kind of mad, phony mad, not mad at all, the Zoll trick. The answer seems to be something in between, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Instead of trying to figure out which one it is, which means ignoring evidence that's in the text, no, don't ignore evidence, it's in the text. You can't make it go away because it's inconvenient to your argument. It's there. He says all 3 things. we should ask ourselves a different question. Not whether Hamlet is mad or not. It cannot be determined. We have to open Schrodinger's box to find out. By the time that will spoil it. Ask yourself why this play is so committed to making that confusing and indeterminate. One of the ways Hamlet works as a piece of art is creating doubt and indeterminacy. What do we know about the ghost's murder, the old king's murder? We know his brother did it. How do we know his brother did it? His brother tells us. Halfway through, we get a soliloquy where we hear the king confess he did it. Who else was involved? Gertrude? Gertrude is clearly sleeping with the king now. Was she cheating on her husband beforehand? Did she only start sleeping with Claudius after old Hamlet died? How much does Polonius know? He doesn't seem like a murdering type or conspiracy murder, but he's also the right-hand man. How much does he know? You can't tell. Instead of trying to figure out which it is, which you can't, you should pay attention to the fact the play doesn't want you to know. The play wants you to be in doubt, sometimes like Hamlet himself is. Hamlet doesn't know who was involved and who wasn't. We don't either. What's going on with the queen? We don't know. Again, good way to do characterization for the queen. We have to guess. Is that a murderess? Is that an adulteress? Is that somebody who didn't know what happened? Is this someone who kind of suspected and turned a blind eye? It's all of them. It's none of them. You've got to work it out. You got to guess. If you're an actor playing Gertrude, you've got to actually pick one, but you can't say it. It's just going to inform your action silently. Indeterminacy, making us wonder, making things seem to be both one thing and the other to make us unsettled, is part of how Hamlet works as a work of art. Let's look for that indeterminacy. Let's look for that kind of attempt to create mystery, because that's what the play is doing. Don't try to stop it. Let it do its thing. Trying to turn it into a simple answer takes away the play we have and gives us a simpler play, which is dumber. Who needs that?